I'm not sure if the proverb, "a picture is worth 1,000 words," has ever been more applicable than in this case. On February 4th, 2015, a tragic occurrence occurred in which one young guy shot and murdered another. They allegedly had a friendship going back more than 10 years. This is CrimeFlicks, your #1 stop for all of your crime stories. In today's video, we will see that he brutally murdered his best friend and took a selfie with his dead body. According to relatives and friends, Ryan was a popular, naturally brilliant teen who loved video games, sports, and animals in the summer at the time of the event. He worked at McDonald's and helped with the Red Cross before passing away in 2015. After a brawl there for which Ryan's mother claims he was not responsible, he relocated to a nearby alternative school. As time went on, Ryan and another team named Maxwell Morton became good friends. The two became close because they shared a love for first-person shooter games. Later, Morton testified that he and Ryan Mangan had no problems with one another and that they were having a good time together when they went to Mangan's house in February of 2015. He brutally murdered his best friend and took a selfie with his dead body. The incident grabbed national headlines not because of how the victim passed away, but rather because of what the attacker did afterwards, posing for a selfie in front of his companion, who was bleeding and slumped after being shot. It's impossible to discuss 16-year-old Ryan Mangan without how he passed away. Ryan was found dead in a chair in his bedroom after his mother, Rebecca Mertland, arrived home late on the evening of February 4th, 2015. About an hour earlier, he had received one facial shot and his body was still warm. Mertland initially believed that her son had committed suicide, but she failed to see a pistol in the area. Within a few days, she discovered the truth. Ryan had been killed by Maxwell Morton, 16, another adolescent, who had left Ryan to bleed to death as his lungs filled with blood. He referred to Ryan as a friend. Morton said it was an unfortunate accident while the two were playing with a revolver that Ryan had in his room. Prosecutors called his actions egregious and unsuccessfully sought a first-degree murder conviction. When Morton pointed the gun at the other youngster, he was unaware that it was loaded, according to his attorney. What Morton did after firing the gun is undeniable. He smiled for a selfie with Ryan while Ryan's body lay bleeding in the background, and then he ran away. He didn't even make a help request. Soon after Ryan's death, Morton was detained, and after being tried as an adult, prosecutors sought to find Morton guilty of first-degree murder for the shooting. He instantly made a screenshot of the selfie and sent it to his mother, who was in Pennsylvania, and dialed 911. She informed the police. You won't believe this, but there is a Snapchat of the murder that sent the police to Martin's home, where he gave them a brief account of what took place and revealed that the pistol was in his bedroom. Morton initially claimed to the police that he and Mangan were tinkering with the firearm when he shot Mangan because he wanted to capture a picture while gazing down the barrel. The teen's actions in the aftermath, including the photo, were a result of panic and shock, according to Morton and his defense attorney, who also claimed that the shooting was a terrible accident. What was going through his mind when he did this? And why is he smiling? After the search and before Morton was jailed, Westmoreland County Detective James Williams spoke with Morton in front of his parents. He had a slight smirk on his face and replied, "I don't really care either." Williams testified about a dialogue that was not recorded, and in his police reports, Morton initially claimed the gunshot was an accident. According to Dr. Cyril Wetch, a forensic pathologist, Mangan might have survived the shooting if he had instead gotten medical attention. According to the authorities, Morton took a selfie with his dying friend before leaving the house without calling for help. Attorney Patrick Thomasy stated, quote, "In my heart of hearts, I don't think Max wanted to take a life. They were engaged in an absurd game." End quote. Thomasy claimed that Max was unfamiliar with firearms and didn't know the gun was loaded when he pointed it at Ryan. Thomasy countered that the two were simply messing around as pals. Ryan's death and Morton's prosecution have been in the news for more than 2 years, generating discussion about the claims made by the prosecution and the defense. Ryan's parents, George Mangan Jr. and Rebecca Mertland, have refrained from speaking publicly out of respect for the ongoing legal proceedings. Morton was found guilty of third-degree murder in February, and in May, he received a minimum 15-year jail term. His attorney is very persuasive. So what do you guys think about the tragedy involving this poor kid? To know more about Ryan and his life story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications whenever new crime-related videos are posted. Moving on. Currently, Ryan's parents are speaking out about the adolescent boy who was left for dead in what has come to be known as the Selfie murder. George and Rebecca frequently repeat the following statements about their son. He was intelligent, compassionate, and generous. He loved animals and enjoyed playing video games and basketball, but he had no specific intentions for the future. Only a few weeks after his death, he was set to turn 17 years old. He was still acquiring driving skills. Jimmy Malik, Ryan's best friend, believes that at the age of 16, you don't really know who you are. According to Ryan's parents, he was a sweet-natured child who began following his father around at a young age while growing up in Jarnett. George explains that, probably ever since he could walk, he was always by me or with me. He says, we could always do all kinds of stuff together. He would be by my side, wanting to help or being there, doing everything that I would do when we were gardening in the yard and planting trees and other things. George and Rebecca shared a bond with Ryan. When Ryan lived with his dad, they frequently went outside in the evenings to play basketball beside his house. In the summer, he and his mum would visit water parks. George and Rebecca never married and split up when Ryan was a little child, but both claimed they co-parent amicably. According to a friend, Desiree Christofiak, Ryan had been working part-time at McDonald's for about a year when he passed away. Despite his assistance at George's auto repair shop, she claims that this was his first have-to-pay-taxes job. He also found the time to assist the neighborhood Red Cross, which he had joined when he was just 14 years old. And while his mother initially encouraged him to volunteer, Christofiak claims that wasn't the reason he persisted. He ultimately developed a strong liking for it. She claims that he enjoyed being of service. He enjoyed helping those who weren't as privileged as he was. Rebecca emphasizes that her son was a nice kid, although he had some challenges in a statement about him. Of course, we've had some issues with him. She claims he was a young man. But simply to have him back, we would have all that back today, and I would take it all back in a heartbeat. After Morton's arrest, George and Rebecca came under fire as Morton's lawyer claimed that they shared some of the responsibility for the shooting because Ryan was purportedly the owner of the gun that Morton used in it. Despite having previously posed for images with guns, Ryan's close friend and family don't believe that he was a gun fanatic. When the victim is unable to participate, Rebecca claims that no trial is fair. She says, quote, Ryan was a teenager who copied what he saw on social media. Unfortunately, all our kids are being influenced by various media, which is leading to a whole new set of problems that parents have to deal with on their own. End quote. According to Rebecca, her son was book clever but not street smart. A promising future was cut short by his shooting death. According to Malik, he didn't even get to develop into the person he could or would be today. Rebecca says, leaving work was my hardest moment of the day, because I truly wanted to go home to be a mother, but I was going home to nobody. They have used different strategies to deal with their son's passing and its effects. George calls the jury's verdict a miscarriage of justice and claims that the conviction and sentence are not a relief, but he is aware that he must proceed. Rebecca claims that she is making more progress than George in terms of getting over the sadness, however, it will always be there. She says of Morton, I hope he can get better. In my opinion, I don't think that'll happen. And that is all for today's video. Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and if so, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, here are some other crazy amazing videos that you will enjoy. Simply click on the left or the right video to watch it. Stay tuned for the next one. Goodbye.